The chamber fell silent when Queen Zelara spoke the words that would doom or save her empire. Jake Morrison stood across the obsidian table, his human frame dwarfed by the towering Krynn advisors surrounding them. Their silver skin gleamed under the pale light of 3 moons visible through the crystal dome above. "My daughter's hand in marriage," Zelara repeated, her voice steady despite the desperation burning in her chest, "in exchange for Earth's military alliance against the Varkoth invasion." Jake's jaw tightened. He'd expected weapons treaties, resource sharing, even territorial concessions. "Not this. Your Majesty, with respect. I'm a diplomat, not—" "I know what you are," Zelara interrupted. Her 4 eyes, arranged in a diamond pattern on her elegant face, fixed on him with an intensity that made his skin prickle. "I also know my people are dying. 20 years since the plague. 20 years without a single Krynn birth. Our males are sterile. Our females cannot conceive. We have perhaps 2 generations left before extinction." Princess Kaiya entered the room then, moving with the fluid grace characteristic of her species. She was beautiful by any standard, her silver skin marked with bioluminescent patterns that shifted with her emotions. Currently, they pulsed a dull blue. Resignation. Jake had studied Krynn biology enough to recognize it. "Father would never have approved this," Kaiya said quietly, looking at her mother. "Selling me to an alien." "Your father is dead," Zelara replied, though her voice softened. "And I am not selling you. I am asking you to save our people." Jake held up his hands. "Wait. Even if I agreed, this doesn't solve your population crisis. I'm human. The biology isn't compatible. Your own scientists confirmed it. Compatibility is irrelevant," Zelara said. "This marriage secures Earth's fleet, 20,000 warships to defend our remaining colonies. That is what matters. Whether you and Kaiya ever share more than a title is between you both." Kaiya's patterns flickered orange. Anger, briefly, then back to blue. She met Jake's eyes for the first time. "I was already infertile before the plague. Genetic defect. I'm damaged goods, Mr. Morrison. This changes nothing for me." Something in her voice made Jake's response catch in his throat. The loneliness. The weight of being perfectly useless to her dying species. He knew that feeling, in his own way. "I'm sorry," he said. "Don't be." Kaiya straightened. "Do we have an agreement?" 3 days later they were married in a ceremony that blended Krynn crystal binding with human traditions. Earth's media called it the wedding of the century. Krynn citizens watched with hollow hope, knowing it meant survival, but not salvation. Jake and Kaiya exchanged vows they both knew were political fiction. The first month was awkward. They maintained separate quarters in the royal palace. Shared meals became slightly less strained. Kaiya taught Jake to read Krynn bioluminescence. He taught her to appreciate coffee, which she declared tasted like burnt soil. They laughed. It was a start. The second month, something shifted. Late-night conversations about losing parents, carrying impossible expectations, being reduced to symbols. Kaiya's patterns began showing colors Jake hadn't seen before. Warm ambers, soft greens. She touched his hand during a state dinner. He didn't pull away. The third month, their marriage became real in ways neither had anticipated. Kaiya's quarters became their quarters. The political arrangement became something neither could quite name, but both felt deeply. She told him she'd never expected to feel this. He admitted the same. The 6th month, Kaiya collapsed during a reception for the Andromedan ambassador. Jake caught her before she hit the floor, his heart hammering. Her patterns flickered wildly, colors he'd never seen. Medical teams swarmed within seconds. Krynn physicians surrounded her, their instruments humming, their faces grave. "Unknown pathogen," the head physician announced. "Her cellular structure is destabilizing. We need to isolate her immediately." "Wait." A human doctor from Earth's embassy pushed through the crowd. Dr. Nina Brooks, the fleet's chief medical officer. "Let me run a scan first." "This is a Krynn matter," the physician said coldly. "She's married to a human," Nina shot back. "That makes it my matter, too." She pulled out a portable scanner, the kind Earth doctors used for pregnant women. She passed it over Kaiya's abdomen, stopped, stared at the readout. Ran it again. What is it? Jake demanded. Nina looked up, her face pale. She's pregnant. The room erupted. Impossible. Biologically impossible. Krynn and humans weren't compatible. Every xenobiologist in the galaxy had confirmed it. The genetic structures were too different, the reproductive systems too alien to each other. But the scans didn't lie. 2 heartbeats. 2 developing life forms, growing in Kaiya's womb despite every law of biology that said they shouldn't exist. Within hours, the news spread across Krynn space. Within days, it reached Earth. Within weeks, the galaxy held its breath. Scientists descended on the palace, demanding samples, scans, answers. How was this possible? What did it mean? Kaiya recovered from the initial shock. Her body adapted to the pregnancy with surprising ease, as if some dormant genetic switch had been flipped. Jake rarely left her side, protective and amazed in equal measure. They were going to be parents. The word felt surreal. Queen Zelara watched from her throne, her pattern cycling through colors that hadn't been seen in 20 years. Hope. Pure, undiluted hope. If her daughter could conceive, if the human genetic code could bypass the plague that sterilized Krynn males, then perhaps this was more than a political marriage. Perhaps this was salvation. The twins arrived on a morning when both moons were full. Kaiya's labor lasted 14 hours. Jake held her hand through every moment, whispering encouragement while she gripped him hard enough to leave bruises. Human and Krynn medical teams worked together, inventing protocols in real time for a birth no one had prepared for. Maya emerged first, crying with remarkable volume. Her skin was a soft pearl color, somewhere between human pink and Krynn silver. She had 2 eyes, human in placement, but they shifted between blue and violet. Human and Krynn. Zara followed 3 minutes later, quieter but alert. Her skin bore faint, luminescent patterns that pulsed gently. She had 4 eyes like her mother, but smaller, more human in shape. When Jake touched her tiny hand, she gripped his finger with strength that startled him. "They're perfect," Kaiya whispered, tears streaming down her face. Her patterns blazed gold, pure joy. Jake couldn't speak. He just held his daughters, these impossible miracles, and felt the universe shift around them. The galaxy's attention became suffocating. Every government wanted samples. Every scientist demanded access. Some called the twins abominations. Others called them hope. Religious factions on a dozen worlds declared them either blessed or cursed. The media never stopped. But more importantly, other Krynn began to notice. If Princess Kaiya, known to be infertile, could bear children with a human, what about other Krynn? The ones who still had their fertility before the plague? Could they also conceive with human partners? Within the year, the first trials began. Krynn nobles, desperate to continue their bloodlines, arranged marriages with willing humans. Earth's government established a voluntary program. Thousands applied. The first success came 8 months later. Then another. Then 10 more. The hybrid children came in waves. Each birth was celebrated across Krynn space. Each child was unique, displaying different combinations of human and Krynn traits. Some had bioluminescent skin. Others had enhanced physical strength. A few showed signs of telepathic abilities that neither species possessed alone. Scientists finally understood. The Krynn plague had targeted specific genetic sequences in Krynn DNA. Sequences that controlled reproduction. But human DNA was different enough that when combined, it created entirely new sequences the plague couldn't recognize or attack. The hybrid children were immune. More than immune. They were enhanced. 10 years passed like water through fingers. Maya and Zara grew faster than human children, slower than Krynn. They attended the Royal Academy with other hybrid children. A new generation that belonged fully to neither species yet embraced both. Maya developed her mother's diplomatic grace and her father's stubborn determination. She could read emotional patterns in both species, making her an uncanny negotiator even at 10. Her abilities went beyond normal Krynn bioluminescence. She could project emotions, influence moods in a room, calm conflicts before they escalated. Zara inherited Jake's analytical mind and Kaiya's strategic brilliance, but she also manifested abilities no one expected. She could heal minor injuries with a touch. She could sense illness in others. She could feel the genetic code itself, though she couldn't explain how. The other hybrids showed similar gifts: enhanced strength, telepathy, accelerated learning, abilities that made some Krynn uncomfortable. The children were supposed to be salvation, not evolution. Some began to whisper that the hybrids weren't Krynn at all. They were something else, something new, something that threatened the purity of an ancient species. A faction emerged: the preservationists, led by Lord Ven, a high-ranking noble whose own children had died before the plague. They argued that the Krynn were losing themselves, that accepting human genetics was genocide by another name, that these hybrid children would erase true Krynn from existence. "They're not Krynn," Ven declared in the Grand Assembly. "They're human pets, wearing our faces. Every hybrid born is one less pure Krynn in the universe. We are not being saved. We are being replaced." The rhetoric grew darker, more violent. Protests turned to vandalism. Vandalism turned to threats. And threats, inevitably, turned to action. Queen Zelara had not visited her daughter's family in 3 years. Affairs of state, she claimed. The Varkoth War still simmered at the borders. The integration of Earth technology into Krynn defense systems required constant oversight. But truthfully, she feared what she might feel seeing her grandchildren. Would she see Krynn, or would she see what Ven saw? Contamination? But on the 10th anniversary of Maya and Zara's birth, she could delay no longer. She traveled to the family estate, a sprawling complex that blended Krynn crystal architecture with human gardens. Kaiya met her at the entrance, patterns warm with welcome. "Mother," Kaiya embraced her. "The girls are so excited to see you." "I should have come sooner," Zelara admitted. "You're here now." Maya and Zara burst from the house, moving with that distinctive hybrid grace. They looked so much like their mother, but with Jake's expressions, his smile. They threw themselves at Zelara with absolutely no royal protocol, hugging her fiercely. "Grandmother!" Maya beamed. "We made you something." They pulled her inside, chattering excitedly. Jake appeared, older now, a few gray hairs at his temples. "Your Majesty," he said warmly, "welcome home." The afternoon was spent in ways Zelara hadn't experienced in decades, playing games with her grandchildren, watching them demonstrate their abilities. Maya showed how she could make her patterns dance in complex fractals. Zara took her grandmother's hand and somehow, impossibly, eased the chronic pain in Zelara's joints that she'd carried for years. "How did you do that?" Zelara asked, stunned. Zara shrugged. "I can feel what's wrong. Then I fix it. It's easy, but it wasn't easy. It was extraordinary." Zelara watched her grandchildren with growing wonder. They weren't just healthy. They were exceptional. They represented something she hadn't dared imagine. Not just survival, evolution. That evening, as the family gathered for dinner, alarms shrieked through the compound. Security systems flared. Jake's expression went hard as he accessed his comm. "Preservationist forces. How it could have slipped outside of our perimeters. They've breached the outer perimeter. Damn it, they're targeting the hybrid school, the academy, where 200 hybrid children, including Maya and Zara's classmates, lived and studied." Kaiya was already moving, her diplomatic facade dropping to reveal the warrior queen's daughter beneath. "How many?" "At least 50 soldiers. Armed. They're not here to protest, Kaiya." Zelara felt ice flood her veins. "They're going to kill the children. Not if we stop them," Jake said. He was already arming himself, military training from another lifetime taking over. "I've called for backup, but they're 10 minutes out." "Those children don't have 10 minutes, Kaiya said. Maya and Zara stood. "We can help," Maya said. "Absolutely not," Jake started. "Dad, we're the fastest ones here," Zara interrupted. "And I can sense where people are hurt. You need us." Zelara looked at her granddaughters, 10 years old. Children. But their eyes held something ageless. Purpose. She made a decision that defied every royal protocol, every grandmother's instinct. "Go. Protect your friends. They moved as a unit. Jake and Kaiya led the defensive response, coordinating with palace security. Maya and Zara slipped through the chaos with hybrid speed, reaching the academy before the adult forces. Inside, preservationist soldiers were rounding up terrified children. Lord Ven stood in the center, his patterns burning red with rage. This ends tonight. The contamination dies here. Maya stepped into the room and her patterns erupted with light so bright it forced everyone to look away. When they could see again, she stood between Ven and the children, her expression fierce. "You'll have to go through me." "Gladly." Ven raised his weapon. Zara touched the ground. Something rippled outward, a wave of something the sensors couldn't measure. Every soldier in the room staggered, their weapons falling from suddenly numb fingers. Not violence. Healing turned inward, disrupting neural pathways just enough to incapacitate without harming. "What?" Ven stumbled. "We're not your enemy," Maya said, her voice carrying weight beyond her years. "We're your children, your future, and we carry something you need." "We carry nothing but human corruption," Ven spat. Zara walked toward him, unafraid. "No, we carry the cure." She reached out, touched his chest. Ven tried to pull away but couldn't move. Zara's eyes went distant, seeing something beyond normal vision. "I can feel it. It's still in you, in all pure Krynn. Dormant but present. The same genetic markers. But we hybrids, we have something different. A resistance, a key." "Lies," Ven gasped. "Let me show you," Zara said softly. And she did something none of the scientists had managed. She consciously manipulated her own genetic code, extracted a precise sequence, and transferred it to Ven. Not through injection or procedure, to pure biological will. Ven's patterns exploded in colors that cycled too fast to read. His body convulsed, then stilled. When he opened his eyes, they were clear in a way they hadn't been in 20 years. "What did you do?" "I gave you what we have," Zara said. "The genetic resistance to the plague. Your body can fight it now. In a few weeks, you'll be fertile again." The room fell silent. Every soldier, every child, every adult who'd arrived as backup, they all heard it. The impossible claim. The revolutionary possibility. Jake and Kaiya burst in, weapons ready, then stopped at the tableau. Zelara followed, her patterns cycling through disbelief, hope, shock. "Is this true?" Zelara demanded. "Can you really cure the plague?" Maya and Zara looked at each other, then nodded. "We didn't know for sure until now," Maya admitted. "But Zara's been studying our genetics, comparing them to pure Krynn. The resistance is there. It can be transferred." "Not just transferred," Zara added. "Taught. The Krynn immune system can learn it, like a vaccine. We're not replacing you. We're saving you." Lord Ven sank to his knees, his patterns flickering between too many emotions to name. "You should have let me kill you." "I tried to murder children." "Yes," Maya said simply. "You did. But you were afraid. Fear makes people do terrible things. We understand fear." Kaiya moved to her daughters, pulled them close. "You could have died. We couldn't let our friends die," Zara said. Queen Zelara walked forward slowly, her ancient eyes taking in the scene. The preservationist soldiers disarmed and incapacitated without being killed. The children, her granddaughter standing calm and powerful in the center of it all. And a revelation that changed everything. She reached out, touched Maya's face, then Zara's. "Show me," she whispered. "Show me what you see." Zara took her grandmother's hand, and Zelara felt it. The genetic code flowing through her granddaughter, complex and beautiful and alive. Saw how it could mesh with her own, how the resistance could be transferred, how the plague that had haunted her people for 2 decades could be ended not through extinction. She saw the future. Thousands of hybrid children growing up. The cure spreading through the Krynn population. Fertility restored. But more than that, the gifts these children carried. The abilities that would make the next generation stronger, smarter, more capable than either species alone. The Krynn weren't being erased. They were being elevated. Humanity hadn't conquered them. It had completed them. Zelara froze, the weight of it crushing and exhilarating in equal measure. For 20 years, she'd watched her people die slowly. She'd made impossible choices, sacrificed her daughter's happiness for political gain, lived with the knowledge that she would witness the end of her entire species. But standing in that room, holding her hybrid granddaughter's hand, feeling the cure flowing through ancient veins, seeing the future written in genetic code, she understood. This was never about survival. It was about transformation. The Krynn Empire wasn't ending. It was being reborn. "How many can you cure?" Zelara asked, her voice steady despite the tears streaming down her face. "All of them," Maya said simply. "Every Krynn who wants it. It'll take time, but we can teach your immune systems to fight the plague. And then you can have children again. Pure Krynn children, if that's what you choose. Or hybrids," Zara added. "Because we're pretty great too." Jake laughed, despite the tension, despite everything. "Yeah, you really are." Then looked up at the children he'd tried to kill. "I don't deserve your mercy." "No," Maya agreed, "but you're gonna get it anyway, because that's what family does." In the months that followed, Zara's cure was verified, tested, and distributed across Krynn space. It worked. The plague's hold broke. Fertility returned to the Krynn people, not immediately, but steadily. Some chose to have pure Krynn children. Others chose to marry humans and have hybrids. Most didn't care as long as they had a future. The preservationist movement collapsed, though not everyone forgave as easily as Maya and Zara. But the momentum had shifted. The hybrids weren't a threat. They were the solution. Queen Zelara stood in the palace gardens years later, watching her great-grandchildren play. Pure Krynn, human, and hybrid, all mixed together. All family. The distinctions that once seemed so important had faded. What remained was life. Continuation. Hope. Kaiya joined her, Jake at her side. "You gave us more than an alliance when you arranged this marriage," Kaiya said softly. "I gave you a stranger and hoped for the best," Zelara admitted. "Your daughters gave us everything else." "Our daughters," Jake corrected gently. "Humanity's and Krynn's both." Zelara watched Maya mediating a dispute between two younger children with diplomatic skill beyond her years, watched Zara healing a scraped knee with casual ease. These children, these magnificent, impossible children, they were the future. Not human. Not Krynn. Something new. Something better. She'd frozen when she first saw them, overwhelmed by what they represented. Now she couldn't imagine a galaxy without them. The Krynn would continue for another 1,000 generations, but they would continue changed, enhanced, partnered with the species that saved them, by simply being willing to love them. And in the end, Zelara realized that was the most human thing of all.